So welcome to everybody to this joint webinar of OECD and COLEAD. This is our 10th session. So we will be discussing the rise of convenience, how ready-to-eat foods are reshaping the fruit and vegetable sector. So first of all, let me introduce myself. So my name is José Brambila. I work for OECD. I'm the program manager of the OECD Fruit and Vegetable Scheme, and we deal with the inspections and certifications of the quality of fruit and vegetables. Some logistics before I pass the floor to COLEAD, to Isolina. So this session has live interpretation in English and French. So below of your screen, you have the interpretation icon. You can click and then choose the channels for English or French. We have 5 speakers in this session. So we will introduce them one by one when we start the presentations. We will have all the presentations first and the questions and answers at the end of the session. So you can start providing your questions in the chat, and then we will filter some of the questions, provide them to the speakers. Those questions that we don't have time to address will be addressed bilaterally via email after the webinar. So I pass quickly the floor to COLEAD, to Isolina, to say some words.
Thank you very much, José. It will be very quick, just to say that, the topic of today, because it's a series, and these are a series, today is number 10, of really looking at insights, trends, changes in the fruits and vegetable sector, and of course, looking at the policy, research, but how it impacts as well the private sector. And I'm very glad that we have today operators from Europe, from the UK, and from Italy, and also from the south, from Benin. And the topic of today was very much requested by our audience and the surveys we do regularly, because it has really, it's a sector that has really gone through a transformation and is going still driven by changes, as we have in the background note you have all received, really lifestyles, urbanization, growing health consciousness, and so on. And it's really, consumers are demanding for quick and easy food, but at the same time, which is more sustainable, high quality options, that really, that's very, very important. So we thought we look at this one, we look at the variety, the trends and the variety of products that we have today. And we look, of course, at all the transformation that, it requires, advancements in food processing, in packaging, in preservation, etc. So these developments are not only extending shelf life and enhancing food safety, but they are also creating environmentally friendly solutions, which is really what aligns with consumer expectations for sustainability. So, of course, there are challenges. We will mention a few today. I know the operators will mention today regarding quality. They have sometimes a wrong perception, or also the, of course, compliance with regulatory measures. We are very glad to have the European Commission today to explain a bit more that part. But we are, from COLEAD, of course, we are an association, and that's why the complementarity with OECD is very important. We are an association of private sector operators who are promoting trade in the agri-food sector in the north and in the south, so in Europe, in the EU, and in the UK, as well as Africa, Caribbean, Pacific countries, and much beyond. So we are very much interested in the evolution of this industry and the innovations of the operators that, of course, innovations that can generate growth and income opportunities for that. And at the same time, many of the requests we had is the sector can not only add value to an operator and smallholders and so on, but also reduce post-harvest losses, create inclusive supply chains, and bring a bit more nutritious options to the consumers. So we are very happy that we can, of course, mobilize within COLEAD in complement with OECD instruments, but also all the other partners that are today with us, our technical assistance, the training, the analysis of regulatory measures, research and innovation departments at COLEAD. So this just to finish this session, for us from COLEAD side is supported, the series are supported by the European Commission, and also the Organization of the African, Caribbean, and Pacific States through our FFM Plus program. And really, it's to share knowledge on innovation and bring a bit the perspectives from the different actors. So I'm very happy about the panel today. And José, I leave you the floor to give 2 words on the OECD. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Isolina. Again, to say that we are honored to partner with COLEAD to organize these webinars. As Isolina mentioned, this is the 10th webinar that we are organizing. I know that most of the audience are young people. I'm not that young anymore. And I remember when I was young, there was no mobile phones, there was no internet, and certainly there was not ready-to-eat fruit or vegetables or ready-to-eat food in general. So as the title of this webinar says, the key word is convenience. As Isolina mentioned, and the speakers will mention to you, I know it's key for developing these markets. It's the idea of being able to buy the food that is ready. You don't need to cook it. You can go to the gym, you can go to the school, to your office, to the park to eat it. That plays a key role here. And as Isolina mentioned, I think I'm really interested to see all the trends, the challenges, the opportunities, the regulations that are affecting the market. And so without delay, because we have limited time, we're going to start with the first section of the webinar, which will focus on the rise of ready-to-eat fruit and vegetables, market trends, policies, and legislation. And our first speaker comes from Freshfel. Her name is Egle, and she is the Director of Advocacy and Regulatory Affairs at Freshfel Europe, the European Fresh Produce Association. We work a lot with Freshfel as well, so we are really happy to have them on board. Egle represents the interest of the fresh fruit and vegetable sector at the European level. She closely monitors EU legislation on food safety, product quality, and labeling standards. And she plays a key role in developing and implementing proactive advocacy initiatives, and is also the Secretary General of the European Sprouted Seeds Association, ESSA, and coordinates activities related to the sprouted seeds within the EU. Egle has been actively involved in EU-funded projects, including the Fresh Produce PEFCR, which aims to establish environmental footprint calculation rules for fresh products. And she has represented Freshfel in discussions with the Czech presidency of the EU Council, addressing food safety and the competitiveness of the fresh produce sector. She has expertise in European and international food policy, and she is dedicated to ensuring that regulations support the sector's sustainability, safety, and competitiveness. So I give Egle the floor. Please, Egle, you can start.
Thank you very much, José. I hope everyone can hear me very well. Thank you for the introduction. I think most of the job here is done. Just maybe a few words about Freshfel. Freshfel is based in Brussels. It's a non-profit association dealing with the fresh produce, fresh fruits and vegetables, and provided that the category of fresh cut fruits and vegetables are also considered to be fresh. It's not a processed commodity. Freshfel is also overlooking issues affecting this category group within the association and its membership. The membership of Freshfel is very diverse. We have a structure that allows us to work with the stakeholders from the entire supply chain, from production to the consumer. So we have members producing fruits and vegetables, trading, but also retailers. And we also have within our membership companies that are providing services to the industry, such as plant protection product solutions, logistical companies, as well as laboratories and so on. So let me start with a few words about the market in the EU. There is no official data collected about the trade or the trade flows of fresh cut fruits or vegetables, provided that the CN codes applicable for fresh categories, the same as for cut, are the same. So it's very difficult to to extract the data, and this is why we need to rely on third-party experts to provide this data to us. So looking more at the map of Europe, the main players are located in the western part of Europe, mainly in the Netherlands. When we talk about the value overall of the fresh cut vegetables and fruits in the basket, the Dutch producers are the main players in the European Union, followed by the UK, Belgium, France, Germany, and Italy. And also those players located in these countries, they also have establishments, facilities to cut fruits and vegetables in other European countries and non-European countries. So you can see the map on the right side. Some of them are also diversifying the productions in countries like Poland, Serbia, and other Eastern European countries. So I was asked today to present some points on the potential for growth and consumer expectations, but I will also later talk about the regulatory challenges that we have for this specific commodity group. So when talking to the network of Freshfel, we noted that in 2024, in the main producing countries, there was no noticeable growth. And this is because of the inflation and because the consumers are looking for cheaper food options, either intact, non-cut fruits and vegetables, or for less healthy alternatives. So taking the example of the Netherlands, it was noted that in 2024, the entire consumption of fresh fruits and vegetables decreased by 3%. That means that the consumers tended to go for alternative food options, which were not in the category of fresh fruits and vegetables. It is also important to note that there is a huge difference of fresh cut and cut fruit and vegetable market within the EU due to cultural differences, traditions, and cooking practices and habits. So to take an example, the total sales of fresh produce that is being sold to the consumer, 40% are being sold in the shape of cut, in the format of cut fruits and vegetables, while in Germany, while it is just a neighboring country, the share is only 2%. And also to note that the product range, which is being presented in the format of cut, is very different among the member states. Also take into account the cultural differences and the habits of the consumers in those countries. For looking at the future, significant growth of the market, it is not expected. And this is mainly because of the regulatory environment and access to consumers. And this prevents food business operators in other countries to elaborate in this segment at a significant level that would impact overall diversity of fresh produce. It is important to note that private and public efforts are needed to promote healthy diets and to improve the health of European consumers. And we believe that both pre-cut fruit and vegetables as well as intact non-cut fruits and vegetables should be in the center of the European policy, and policymakers should put more focus on healthy foods and deliver legislation that maintains good price for the European consumer, but would also not overcomplicate the legislation that is not always needed. Looking overall at the consumption levels of fresh produce in the EU, this table comes from the Freshfel Europe Consumption Monitor edition 2025, based on data of 2023, the most recent available data available in the world. And we can see that although WHO, World Health Organization, is recommending to consume minimum 400 grams of fresh fruits and vegetables a day, per person. There are very few member states that are achieving this target. So those member states here are marked in the green color. And the overall average consumption level of fresh fruits and vegetables in the EU is 350 grams. So we're still missing 50 grams per day per capita to achieve the targets. What are the challenges for producers and the distributors? First of all, is the sourcing of raw materials, which depends most often on regular contracts. However, given today's climatic conditions, climatic havocs across the EU, also the droughts or prolonged cold periods, also crisis situations, logistical constraints, geopolitical instability, it becomes more and more difficult to rely on regular contracts between the supplier and buyer. And that provided that producers of cut fruits and vegetables are forced to diversify the supplies. However, that remains rather difficult provided the legislation that will be described later on. What is important for the fresh produce sector, for the cut sector, is of course the continuous cold chain, which preserves quality and safety of cut fruits and vegetables. Provided that ready-to-eat foods, cut fruits and vegetables have a rather short shelf life, use by date. That impacts also logistical distance of the produce to be moved from one country to another. Therefore, the geographical area for logistics is also limited comparing to non-cut fruits and vegetables. When it comes to food safety requirements, I would like to point out that cut fruits and vegetables are considered to be high-risk products. And this is why DG Santé, European Commission, is putting a lot of efforts to ensure that there is best legislation in place to prevent the contamination of foods with the pathogens, either Salmonella or Listeria or others. And I would like to make reference to the more recent legislation focusing on Listeria, more not on Nigis, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that well, which will be applicable from the 1st of July 2026. So this legislation would require all establishments producing cutting fruits and vegetables to deliver so-called challenge test studies to the national authorities, demonstrating that Listeria is not growing at significant level at the end of the shelf life of the product, as well as during the shelf life of the product, in order to prevent European consumers getting ill. This will require a lot of expertise because these studies are rather complex. These studies are also expensive. And also it is needed to have access to the right laboratories that are specialized in these matters. And that, of course, will also put more pressure on smaller scale companies that have potentially smaller resources to spend on this kind of hard work. Another regulatory discussion we're having today in the fresh produce industry is the packaging legislation and the evolution of the packaging legislation over the years. While it is already clear that fresh fruits and vegetables non-cut will be required to remove plastic packaging from usage, as it seems now, ready-to-eat foods will be exempted from this obligation, given that there is no good alternative in place for the moment to replace plastic packaging, as well given that ready-to-eat foods have to preserve its quality and food safety standards during the shelf life. However, we are not very sure what is going to come in the future. The future is very unpredictable when it comes to these kind of discussions, and the sectors are investing in finding alternative solutions, sustainable solutions to replace plastic packagings, but it is also important that those alternative packagings are still attractive to consumer for continuously buying pre-cut fruits and vegetables. I would also like to point out that in addition to the European legislation, either on labeling, marketing, or food safety, there is always another layer of regulatory framework which can be defined at national level. So just to give an example, there is more control with regard to biocidal products at national level than European. And this is why it is important to have a good overview on what is happening not only at European level, but as well as national, and how national laws can differentiate among the member states and how to stay compliant. To put more focus on the also more recent development when it comes to origin labeling, and the colleague from the European Commission will be addressing the same points, I believe, after this presentation. There is a new regulation that is applicable as from 1st of January 2025. That is the Commission Delegated Regulation published in 2023, the number 2429. We believe that this legislation is not, with regard to origin labeling of pre-cut fruits and vegetables, is based on the legislative framework that was built at the time when the ready-to-eat segment was not significant, and when it was not considered that the evolution of the industry would come to the point that this legislation wouldn't be any more up to date to apply the practices in an easy way. The legislation imposes same origin labeling rules as for intact fruits and vegetables, so non-cut fruits and vegetables. And the sector sees that this kind of labeling legislation, these new rules, are rather unfair for the ready-to-eat segment comparing to other commodities, such as frozen, which do not need to follow the same rules, while very similar production practices are applied in terms of diversity of different ingredients used in combinations or sourcing of raw materials. It is just important to clarify, because we hear this and we consider this is a misperception. Origin labeling does not contribute to traceability. Traceability is defined by other pieces of legislation, and it is in case of a crisis situation or contamination situation, it is always easy to find the source of materials, not looking at the origin of produce. And also, we would like to highlight that from the legal point of view, origin indication is always possible on a voluntary basis under the legislation 1169 of DG Santé. And it often works and is used as promotional tool by other commodity groups, such as frozen. And just to give an example, while origin labeling is not required for frozen produce, we noted an example of a case when following the incident in the Netherlands of berries being contaminated with hepatitis A, that now also frozen berries have information on origin in order to inform the consumer that it's not the same origin as berries that were contaminated with hepatitis A. And also to show the complexity of the new legislation on origin labeling, I made this example, this table. So we have multiple options, multiple ways to present cut fruits and vegetables to the European consumer. It can be a box or bag of a single ingredient product. In this case, you need to identify specific origin on the packaging, and that has to be limited to one origin in that packaging. If we present to the consumer a mix of multiple ingredient products, such as cut carrot, cabbage, and broccoli, then it is possible to label the origin as EU, non-EU, or EU or non-EU. However, the current legislation still requires that each ingredient comes from one origin. We also have products such as salads, like let's take an example of a Caesar salad with multiple ingredients of fruits and vegetables as well, in addition to products such as a chicken or sauce that comes as an ingredient in a salad like that. In this case, provided that there are multiple ingredients of fresh produce, It is possible to label EU, non-EU, EU, or non-EU. However, again, the same point remains that only one origin of each ingredient has to be in that packaging. And finally, we have products such as salad, like pasta salad with some cherry tomatoes. So let's assume there is only one fruit and vegetable component. So it is still a gray area whether these kind of products should still indicate origin of those fruit and vegetable components because there is no harmonized way of application across the EU at this point. And in case there is a national interpretation that it is required to label the origin on such products, you need to mention a specific origin of that fruit and vegetable single component on the pasta salad. And again, it has to be one origin of that fruit or vegetable. And also to go to another example, assuming that you have a salad, of like a snack for the consumer, and you have three components in the salad. You have a mango, you have a melon and watermelon, as it is presented in the image of the slide. You might source these products as raw materials from different origins on the same day or the same week. And this is the example that I took, two and three origins. It is important to highlight that in order to comply with the legislation, each time you cut a different origin, even though it's the same product, you have to clean the production lines before starting cutting another origin, because you're not allowed to cross-contaminate the origins. Also, I would like to highlight that even though like in the past there was a cross-contamination of origins because the origin labeling was not required, the cross-contamination of origins has nothing to do with traceability, safety, or quality of the product. And this is the salad that I'm having on this slide as an example. Here, as I mentioned also in my previous slides, in this case, even though you might have two origins, mango coming from two origins, in your product, you need to keep one origin of each ingredient. And I would also like just to put numbers on the screen. Depending on the country where products are being produced, like in the Netherlands, depending on producing country, as I say, daily, it is possible that these companies are producing 200 or 300 different combinations using 60 to 70 types of fresh fruits and vegetables. That means that sourcing of multiple origins is unavoidable. And just to give an example, in case of lettuce, it is possible that companies are sourcing lettuce from 6 different countries on the same day. So where the country, sorry, I'm going faster. Where the industry is struggling is that there is lack of flexibility to adjust according to the supply. Ready-to-eat fruit and vegetable producers tend to focus, therefore, on big suppliers to avoid origin change. In this case, often also leaving behind smaller volumes from other countries or even local small suppliers if operations were required to be significantly adjusted. Huge investments are needed also to adapt the IT technology in order to be able to indicate the origin on the packaging. And finally, that results in a higher price either for the producer or consumer that will also make the product less attractive if it gets more expensive. So going very quickly, the Commission's proposal to impose the mandatory origin labeling on 4th Gamma products was based more on political move, according to Freshfel Europe, rather than taking into account economic, environmental, or social sustainability. There were several studies submitted, also some of the Commission itself, that concluded that origin indication would finally result in a higher price of the final product for the consumer. It is also clear that the consumers always indicate price as a more important factor comparing to the origin. And finally, convenience is the most important in combination of the price when consumers are choosing whether to buy cut or fresh fruits or vegetables. And provided that there is limitation of time, I will stop here, and I'll be happy to receive questions at the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Egle. So we are running a little bit late, so I'm going to jump very quickly to the next speaker. It's Antoine Michotte from the European Commission. He's an old acquaintance of us. So we are really happy to have the European Commission here today to explain us a little bit about the regulation. Antoine is the expert in regulation and standards for fruit and vegetables. He works at DG AGRI, and he plays a central role in developing standards to ensure the safety, quality, and sustainability of agricultural products, particularly fruit and vegetables. So I give the floor to Antoine, please, and let's try to keep it to 10 minutes. Thank you.
I will try. Thank you very much, José. I hope you can see the presentation on screen. Is it all right? Is it the case? Yes? Okay, so we'll pass directly to the presentation after thanking the COLEAD to inviting me in participating in this webinar. I work at DG AGRI Unit 2 in charge of the markets for different products, fruits and vegetables that we will be talking about today. In 2023, the regulation was reviewed, and I'm going to talk about the topics that were considered and also the elements that remain considering the regulation which was in force before the 1st of January of this year. Okay, let's start with what are the basic principles. The basic regulation is the Common Market Organization Regulation 1308/2013, which is the basic regulation which ensures the empowerment for the marketing rules for agricultural products in general and for products of the regulation we'll be talking about. In Article 75, the Commission may apply a series of standards for a series of sectors, and amongst them we have fruits and vegetables, processed fruits and vegetable products, and bananas. Then there is a very important article in relation to the topic of today. It's Article 76(1) of this regulation, which mentions that the products, fruit and vegetable, which are to be sold fresh to the consumer, may only be marketed if the origin is indicated. So what are the elements which are posing more problems? Is the scope of the regulation, well, afterwards the extent of the mandatory indication of the origin, the exceptions and exemptions, in particular those referring to the pre-cut produce, and then the labeling and the particular case of mixes. So what is the scope of the Commission Delegated Regulation 2023/2429? We find it in a cascade of regulations. That is, Article 1, Paragraph 2 of this regulation applies to the different, refers to the different parts of the OCM regulation, in particular Part 9 for fruit and vegetable, Part 10 of the Annex 1 of the CMO for the processed products, and finally Part 11 from this regulation of these MCO for bananas. This means that in Part 9 we have some nuts which are also included, some certain dried fruits and plantain bananas who are not considered as bananas in the OMC regulation. The dried fruits in Part 10 of Annex 1 in the processed products, you must realize that the dates are not at processed products that you find in Part 10 of the Annex 1 of the CMO, but in the Part 24 of this Annex 1. So the dates are not covered by the scope of this regulation. And we have bananas which are different from plantain bananas, which are included in Part 11 of Annex 1. As for the the extent of the mandatory indication of the origin, as I mentioned, cited Article 76, Paragraph 1 of the CMO, and it says that the fresh products must already bear the indication of origin. So the new regulation is not new in these terms. However, what was already foreseen in the regulation before the review of 2023 is that the green bananas should also have the indication of origin. So what are the changes? As really the regulation said, and this was said by Egle, is that we want to increase the information of the consumer with respect to the origin of the products. So some products have been added through Article 3, and these are the dried fruits, the dried figs, the dried grapes, and the origin indication for the ripened bananas, which was not the case in the previous regulation. It was not covered by the previous regulation. You must realize that some of the products that are covered by the scope of this regulation, when they are presented as a single product, may change their CN code if they are mixed with other products. For example, I'm talking about the granolas or the mueslis. In that case, their CN changes, and these products are not covered by the regulation. I do not need to mention the indication of origin. Now we arrive at the part referring more specifically to this presentation, and these are the Gamma 4 products or pre-cut products. And they are covered by the exceptions. The exceptions only apply to the specific regulation or general regulation standard, sorry, because a pre-cut product is not intact and therefore the general rule cannot be applied. But because it's a fresh product, the indication of origin, which is imposed by Article 76, Paragraph 1, remains necessary for those products. So we are covering a gray area of products which, according to the CMO, are not transformed products or processed products, but fresh products which have been cut, and therefore they do not respect the specific or general standard anymore. In some cases, the process changes, and I said it already for the mixes. In some cases, processing changes the nature of the product, and also the combined nomenclature that describing this product in the European regulation. And this is a case when you are putting chocolate or sugar on top of the product. These processing change their nature, and therefore these products do not fall into the scope of this regulation. And we have the specific case of mixes. This is something that Egle already mentioned, but you will see that there have been some precisions that need to be given. This regulation is authorized if the mix is of a weight superior or less of 10 kilogram. The product species of products are of uniform quality, and each one complies with the relevant specific marking standard as applicable. So this means that you may not mix the same product or same species of product. You can't mix, for example, prunes if they are not from the same variety, except if the specific standard says so. In the case of the apple, mixtures are possible if the varieties are clearly different, and then you can mix the product. But this is only when the specific standard says so. This rule is also true for the products of fourth gamma, because everything that is said in Article 76.1 on the origin obligation for fresh products is also true for the gamma 4 products. So we have to look at both regulations together on the uniformity and unicity of origin in the standards, and the consequence is that the different origin is only allowed for mixes of products of species of products which are different. Article 8, paragraph 2 on mixes says that the requirements of paragraph 1 will not apply to products included in the mix which are not products of the fruit and vegetables, dried fruit and banana sectors. This means that in the image where you see that several pre-cut salads are mixed with cooked maize, cooked maize is not covered by the rules of Article 8 on mixes because he is processed further than the gamma 4 products are. He's cooked. This changes the code, the nomenclature code. And for the maize, the cooked maize, you do not have to put an indication of origin, except if not indicated the origin creates confusion for the consumer. And this is a general rule that is included in the regulation on the consumer information on food information to the consumer. Then we have Article 8.3 referring to a simplification that is always valid for products that are covered by this regulation. Suppose products that you see below, walnuts that would come from France mixed with hazelnuts from Italy and dates from Morocco. Only the walnuts and hazelnuts could use the simplification of the that is referred to in Article 8.3, but not for the dates if they were to be mixed with this product. So Morocco should appear on the label if we put the origin for the products that are not covered by the scope of the regulation. The origin is facultative, but if not putting the origin may induce the consumer in an error, then you need to put it. So this depends from the FIC regulation, the information to the consumer on food products. And then for those products, to write on the label UE or not UE is not possible, and not UE is not possible, is not allowed. And this brings me to the entry into force of the regulation. It was negotiated in 2023, and it entered into force in 2023, but it really applies from January 1st, 2025. So there is no transition period that is foreseen between the entering into force and application. However, there's one element that was from application, and that is the one that is on the simplification of the free distribution of these of products of the fruit and vegetable sector. So to accelerate the access, new measures were already to be applied from the moment on that the regulation enters into force.
Thank you very much, Antoine. So now we will move to the second phase of these webinars, where we will be asking operators, I mean the private sector, what they think the opportunities and challenges for the ready-to-eat food sector are. We were going to start with Blue Skies. So we have Fleur that serves as a senior sustainable manager. She plays a central role in shaping and implementing the company's sustainability strategy for ethical sourcing and packaging innovation to waste reduction and community empowerment. And she collaborates closely with farmers, suppliers, and teams to ensure that Blue Skies delivers the high quality, ready-to-eat products that respect both people and the planet. So the floor is yours, Fleur. Please, let's keep it short because we are late. Thank you.
Hi, everyone, and thank you very much for the introduction. I hope you can see my full screen now. Otherwise, just let me know. So indeed, my name is Fleur de Wit. I'm a senior sustainability manager at Blue Skies, and I'm currently located in Nairobi in Kenya. It's an honor to tell you today about Blue Skies. I will take you on an entrepreneurial journey that Blue Skies is, and tell you our story of resilience. So to start with a little bit about Blue Skies, who are we? Blue Skies is an international fresh fruit processing company. We have several products that you can see here. Our main product is fresh cut fruit, with the focus on being healthy, on being fresh, and obviously convenient. And we also have freshly squeezed juices, as you can see here, and dairy-free ice cream. And these two products are made from arisings from the fresh fruit, our cut fruits. And they're all based on tropical fruits mainly. So mango is our biggest fruit that we use, but also pineapple, pomegranate, melon, etc. The products come from a network of facilities around the world, with our main presence being in African countries. And this network of facilities help us to make sure that we can supply fresh products around the year. And you see some here to give you an idea. So we have Ghana on top. You see Egypt. If we go to the bottom left, that is our facility in Benin, our newest facility. South Africa, then Brazil, and we have a facility in the UK as well. We also have pack houses, in Senegal and Ivory Coast. So we currently supply to customers across the globe. Our biggest customers are specifically from the fresh cut fruit products are based in the UK, like M&S, Tesco, Waitrose, Sainsbury's. And we also have customers in European countries, and we are also expanding there. And the fresh cut products that are going to the UK and EU are sold on as white label. That means that the branding that you see on the product is from the supermarket. The freshly squeezed juice and the ice cream we sell locally, specifically in Ghana and South Africa, and that is labeled as Blue Skies products. So let's take a step back. And as I shared, start on the entrepreneurial journey. So Blue Skies was founded in 1997 by Anthony Powell. And he had a vision around cut fruit that was different than was already on the market. So instead of taking the fruit out of the country where it's grown and will be processed in the country of use, he thought about it differently. So let's process the end product at the location where the fruit is actually coming from. This will increase the freshness, the quality of the product, but will also add value. So these thoughts resulted in the two things that Blue Skies basically is built on, and that is adding value at source and products fresh from harvest. And this approach, this vision really sees the African continent and South America as a center of excellence and quality. And with this vision, with this idea, Anthony started from scratch. So he flew to Ghana with, only this idea, basically. And banks wouldn't support, they wouldn't help because they thought it was too risky. So really entrepreneurial start of Blue Skies. And I like this picture on the left where you can see their first team meeting in Ghana with 36 people to start things off. And since then, 28 years later, on the right-hand side, you see the facility in Ghana and how much that grew. And there are now more than 8,000 people worldwide working for Blue Skies. And obviously, a journey and a growth like this doesn't come without any challenges that will be recognized by everyone, I think. So over the years, to give some examples, we had to deal with international shocks. So, for example, the volcanic ash cloud was a real problem for us because that meant we couldn't transport our products to the UK and the EU because we fly by passenger planes. And obviously also COVID was a real challenge. But we also face local challenges and shocks. I mean, there can be supply chain disruptions, geopolitics, fluctuations in currency, and also what we see sometimes is a negative risk perception towards Africa. And then add that to the practical challenge in some communities of limited infrastructure. So, there will always be challenges, there will always be shocks in every location that your business is in and will be in. And besides shocks that you have to deal with, to grow this much in the 28 years, we needed to make sure that we are ahead of competition. And that means, understanding market trends, being innovative, and, importantly, you need to be able to adjust in time. And that's where resilience comes in, because we have to acknowledge that the only way to overcome challenges, to be ahead of competition, is to be resilient. And this is where our company culture comes in. I think that the approach of Blue Skies really stands out and makes us resilient. So our cultures, the values we stand for, and the approach to sustainability too. And I just want to zoom into that a little bit more to make you understand what our culture is and how we look at sustainability. So you see here our identity. And Blue Skies was from the beginning, and we still are, based on these three things. We are strengthened by diversity, bound by a culture of respect, and driven by generating a positive return. So also I have to say, we're not afraid of the word profit. It's really the reason why we work, but making profit in a sustainable way. And this translates to daily actions, right? So respect for people, respect for communities, and respect for the environment. And on that point, I wanted to show you, I know I've seen the time, I won't go into any details, but it's good to know how we structure sustainability in Blue Skies. We call it our blueprint, which I think really shows that it is something that, how we are built. We divide it into 4 pillars that we focus on, which you see here. So we want to create a place for happy and healthy people, and thus create a zero poverty. Secondly, we want to be in harmony with nature, meaning zero biodiversity loss. Also, we want to focus on conserving our resources, meaning zero waste. And with waste, we're focusing on water waste and also the materials that we use. And then lastly, of course, protecting the climate. And that means, setting up targets towards net zero emissions. No, we've talked a bit about Blue Skies. We talked about entrepreneurial journey and the importance of resilience. To make it a little bit more concrete. So how do we build resilience with farmers? And obviously, farmers are the basis of our product. So we mostly work with smallholder farms, in some locations more than others. And it's even more important to build a relationship of trust and support. And that means working together with farmers where we can. And just to give you some examples of the things we do to try to build this relationship and work together is we have agronomy teams who can be of support for farmers. We can financially sometimes support with soft loans, but also in investing in R&D to address problems that are for the whole region. So, for example, if there are pests or diseases, that is something that we can look into together as well. Training is a really big topic. Obviously, training can be about anything. We have a training center at every site where we can come together with the farmers we work with, and training on sustainability and climate resilient agriculture is getting more and more important and a sort of a hot topic. And then lastly, a growing topic of interest is as well the certification of farms. This is growing and also getting more complex because some retailers and some countries are asking for different certification. And also, as you can imagine, it can be quite costly and take a lot of time to get this certification. So with smaller farms, we work together to create basically an organization of all the farmers together and support them with getting this certification as a group. Now we talked about resilience with farmers, but obviously we should also talk about how do we build resilience with the community. And with the community, I mean the community where facilities are located, but also communities where our employees and where our farmers live in. And we do this through our Blue Skies Foundation. And that is a collective foundation with two of our big retailers, Waitrose and Albert Heijn. And the thing I want to highlight here is what I think is different than some of the other foundations that you see. We always, the request for our project always comes from the community. So we don't try to find projects to do. It's always a request from the community. And because it's the community that our employees live in, there is very direct contact, obviously, and they know very well what's needed. But also that the community stays responsible for taking care of the project after implementation. The focus is mostly on education, but also on health and clean drinking water. And then lastly, of course, we should also think about resilience at our own facilities. And when thinking about this and making the presentation, the conclusion actually really was, resilience in Blue Skies, people are really the center of this. So we talked about our culture in the beginning, and as you've noticed, is that a center of our culture is how do we look after people. And there are a lot of things that we try to do. Just to give you an idea of three examples that you can see in the pictures on the right-hand side. So we have health classes, health trainings at every location, depending on what is the most important thing to focus on there. For example, this is a team in Ghana around malaria. We also have what we call a Keep Fit Club at every location in our sports facilities by an official trainer, making sure people are healthy and have fun together. And we have a Together We Grow Academy, we call it. These are trainings in person and online to develop not only your skills for work, but also more soft skills. Then I want to highlight something that makes us resilient is our local expertise. So all our facilities are run 100% by a local team. And obviously, nobody knows the regulation locally, the operation locally, the country itself better than the local teams. This helps us also with quick decision-making. Our office in Pittsford isn't a production site, but it exists really to support the factories and the facilities. So each site operates independently, but we work together as teamwork very closely that if one site faces challenges, others can step in to support. So as you will have noticed, when we talk about entrepreneurial journey, when we talk about being resilient, it really comes down to people in Blue Skies. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much to Blue Skies. Now we move to Mrs. Marcos. She's the CEO of Les Fruits Tillou. I hope I said that well. It's a company based in Benin. The company was created in 2000, and it works with over 1,600 small-scale farmers. So I pass the floor to Mrs. Marcos. Please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I'm in charge of the company Les Fruits Tillou in Benin. We have, I'm going to introduce the various facilities we have and also our products and our approach. I'm an agronomist by training and a woman entrepreneur in Benin is important for the community. After the beginning of her career, the founder decided to be even more ambitious and to dedicate her passion to people. And she wanted to process agricultural products. So in the year 2000, she created a family business. In a matter of few years, her company grew between 2003 and 2015. She also developed tremendously the production. And this was a tremendous success. And it enabled her to produce our craft homemade fruit juice. And this was the real beginning of her journey. Madame Betsy Quebec created the company, an industrial multinational actually, specialized in the agro-food processing. Her goal was to find income, to create income for small producers and to put fruit on the market with sustainable alternatives. So she wanted to improve the position on the international market. And so we have a specific committee which is paying particular attention to that, producing quality products. So her core business is the processing and marketing of fresh pineapple and byproducts, such as fruit juices and cocktails, and they work in partnership with a network of certified organic pineapple producers to ensure better control of the production chain, but they also are proud of their presence on local markets in West Africa, as well as on international markets. And we also export products, and these products can be found in France, in Germany, Italy, Canada, and in the US. Les Fruits Tillou work in partnership with a network of 1,600 producers committed to sustainable and organic farming. We have obtained certification, organic certification for organic production, HACCP, ISO 22000, kosher. And so this ensures the quality of our production chain, reinforcing our reputation on the market. So these compliance to these certification is something which gives trust to our clients. It's a guarantee of confidence for our customers as well as for our partners. fresh pineapples, we offer two varieties of pineapples, the organic and conventional sugarloaf variety and the conventional smooth cayenne variety. So our pineapples are carefully grown and picked when they're ripe. And then we have ready-to-eat products. We offer organic and conventional dried pineapple in round and tidbit shapes and dried mango as well. A dried fruit is obtained through a dehydration process, concentrating the sweet, juicy flavor of fresh pineapple and mango to give a delicious, authentic taste. No sugar, no preservatives, no additives are added. We also produce bottled juices, including pineapple juice, and then a cocktail of pineapple and ginger juice, a baobab pineapple juice cocktail, a mango pineapple juice cocktail, an orange juice, and pisap juice. Our juices are made from fresh, carefully selected raw materials that give them a natural, delicious flavor. No added sugars, no additives. And so we are active on both the local and international markets. Demand is strong and growing, but we are confronted to some challenges, such as during transport, so access to refrigerated containers. That remains a major challenge for maintaining product quality during transport, and then availability of raw materials to meet all the orders. And then there is also the climate, which can be an issue at times. Then what are the development prospects? Industrializing dried fruit production chain by acquiring modern equipment, investing in the production of raw materials, and building a cold store, which would be located right next to the processing facility. The construction is underway. I would say in conclusion that Les Fruits Tillou is an innovative and passionate company founded on the values of quality and respect for the environment. Our company is firmly committed to offering authentic products while protecting the health of our consumers. Thank you very much for your attention.
So we move now to another presentation by Antonio Salvatore. He's the chairman of the board of directors of OASI in Italy, which is a major agricultural producers organization dealing with ready-to-eat salads. Mr. Antonio Salvatore is a strong advocate for sustainable packaging solutions, focusing on recyclable materials and advancing traceability and transparency. So the floor is yours, Mr. Salvatore.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all of you for this opportunity. I'll try to share my screen now. Okay. So thanks for your introduction. You said everything about me. I only add that also I'm vice president of a national organization in Italy for producer of fresh cut salad, and I'm the coordinator of the Italian table for the ready-to-eat salad. So a couple of words about OASI. OASI, it's interesting, this structure, because it's typical for the producer of this kind of product in Italy, and mainly in a good part of the Italy. This means that there are, at the end, this company has we are not so far from 50 associated from an agricultural point of view, so that they assure the sourcing of raw material for all the company. Now, OASI is an association of producers dedicated, as I say, to the ready-to-eat salad in Italy and also in Europe, because, as you say before, we have got some associated in Spain. This company was founded in 2005 with a specific aim of developing aggregating agricultural excellence in Italy according to technical quality, ethical and sustainability standards. Starting from 2022, OASI is also a benefit company. And in 2024, we became an European company. And all our societies have got at least this kind of certification. I mean, Global Gap, GRASP, LEAF, Rete Lavoro di Qualità, which is an Italian certification in compliance with the labor standards, social legislation, taxes, and so on. And also, we have the certification of the national quality production here in Italy. As I said to you before, our most important area of interest is clearly in Italy, but also in Spain. We actually manage not so far about 500 hectares in greenhouse and more than 600 hectares in open field. This means that we manage 50 raw materials and more than 35 tons per year. Talking about the industrial valorization of our product, we have 2 farms in north of Italy, which have more or less 200 people, which is able to produce more than 22,000 tons per year, specific in baby leaf and adult salads. All our farms are certified by IFS, SQMS, ISO 50001, 14001, and we are able to produce also organic production. Is it clear that the strategical point of the place of our plants are in the most important production area? I mean, in the south of Italy and in the north of Italy. But coming to the clue of this presentation is ready-to-eat products or salad, what it means. It means for this kind of company to manage all the process from the field to the shelf. And when we talk about ready-to-eat salad, we are talking about washed, cut, bagged vegetables, ready for consumption, packed in a protected or modified atmosphere, and stored at no more than 8 degrees. So when we talk about salad in this kind, when we saw it on the shelf, we have to think that everything starts in the field. But when we talk about our process, what it mean? I mean that, first of all, as I said just before, everything starts with the agronomical activity. Then in the plant, there is a section for reception and valuation and approval of raw material. And then we start with the raw material selection, with the washing section, the drying section, and optical selection and package section. The optical selection is a section where we control all the foreign bodies and so on. Then we arrived at the final part of our process, which is made for metal control, which is the last control of contamination we have, weight, and final pack. And then we stock our product in our warehouse, and we are ready to ship. So talking about the Italian market, is a market where this kind of product is more than 1 billion euros and is one of the most important markets in Europe. More or less, Spanish is at around 400 millions and France around 800 millions. But as Egle said before, it's a stable market in the last year, and sometimes we lose some volumes, but globally we are talking once again about more than 1 billion euros per year. If we talk about the positive point and the negative point of this kind of product, is it clear that there is a great palatability of this product, is a time-saving and easy to use, a greater hygiene and quality guarantee, a better product traceability, slow deterioration versus cutted product, I mean fresh cutted product, zero from a domestic point of view waste, a reduced from a domestic point of view water consumption, and they are also portioned for single, for semi, for family, for snacks, and so on. And almost we have a constant availability per year. From a difficult point, which are the vision for the future, is the price in a context where the power of buying of the families are less and less year by year. Needs a refrigerated storage. There is we saw just before from the colleague who presented that there is a big discussion regarding packaging. There is an higher perishability versus whole product. And from a production point of view, we have to work and we have a high impact in energy, water, disinfection, and so on. There is a high waste at the source, and last but not the least, there is a lack of information, which is sometimes a distract of the final consumer. And the most important challenges for the future could be the following. From economical point of view, due to the situation of the market, the price of this product, and all these topics. There is a technological point that we have to solve in the future. When I talk about technological, I mean how we can produce in probably less space with less water, less energy, and could be how we can be more sustainable from this point of view. There is a commercial constraint sometimes because at the moment it's not too easy to position this product in the right price on the Italian market, for example. There is a marketing challenge due to the right information for the consumer. And there is also an agronomic challenge led to the way to produce salad in the best way we can in terms of environmental impact. And finally, which perspective for the ready-to-eat salad? A more sustainability agri-food production, I mean producing more, better, and with few resources. A conscious consumer, which is a clear point for this product that could be a base to build the future, because we are talking about health, environmental, and social responsibility product that are at the heart of the purchasing decision. In the industry and circularity, eco-design for the process that involves connection of supply chain, commercial network with extraction that played role an activator and accelerator. So we have to work a lot around the way we have to produce these products that have to be better and better in the next future. And when I talk about next future, I don't see in the 10 years, I mean in a couple of years or something like this. And the last point is led to the communication, because we are convinced that promoting a correct information is the base for the future of this product. 10 minutes and more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we are almost at the end of this webinar. So first of all, I would like to thank all our speakers for having the time to speak to us today to explain the challenges and opportunities that they see on this market. We have just a few questions, so we don't have a lot of time left. The first question is how small farmers in developing countries can adapt to these new trends in ready-to-eat food. So I will ask our speakers if they want to intervene. I will start by saying that actually one of the key added values of these webinars is that to try to put small farmers in developing countries in contact with experts or with companies that are already engaging with the ready-to-eat market. So if our speakers agree, we can provide you their contacts. You can directly link with them to see if there are opportunities to have partnerships or to have trainings on how to engage with these new trends and these new markets. The other point that I would like to mention is that we saw from some of the speakers is that at least in Europe, we see a lot of potential for ready-to-eat food, especially in the fruit and vegetable sector. We saw that only a few countries tend to eat the right requirements of fruit and vegetables. So for all the others, there's still a huge gap that can be filled. And one option will be to provide more ready-to-eat fruit and vegetables, salads to these consumers so that they're able to eat more healthier and address this lack of eating fruit and vegetables. I open the floor quickly to see if there's some comments from the speakers or from Isolina, from COLEAD. No. Then we have another question. I don't know if we can answer that here. Honestly, that one I don't know. They were asking about the regulation of shea butter. If there's some regulation about shea butter, I don't know if Antoine, are you aware of any specific regulation for the shea butter?
No, this is not among the subjects that we are treating here in my unit. If it was, it would be in the unit for unit E4, that is with those oils among other olive oils. So there could be an expert there. So if the colleague that has the question wants, he can send a message and I will forward it to the expert of the other unit.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Antoine. So again, we have only 2 minutes. Again, if you have questions, because I know, we were running out of time, especially the legislation part. If you're not familiar, it can take some time to adjust and understand the information. You can provide via email questions and we will follow up after the webinar. Isolina, I think we're almost done. Give you the floor for some last comments.
No, I wouldn't take time now. Certainly, I think it was so rich and so explanatory that, people were more listening. We had a high level of participation today. And as you said, we can follow up on very specific questions. Thank you very much to the Commission for the regulation, because it's for people wanting to export to the EU is complex and you need to understand it, but also for smallholders, small companies, SMEs, in particular, of course, from the South, from the global South, Africa, in particular, we can certainly link to programs of capacity development, trainings, etc. Because the regulation is there, you need to apply it, but a lot can be done that it's better understood. I like very much, of course, the presentations on linking it to the sustainability part, which is very important. And there are huge opportunities, but also a lot of complexities around that we need to perhaps dig in for next sessions to come, look specifically at some parts. It was really, really very, very interesting. There are emails that my colleagues are posting for any information you want to have, or any contact with our speakers as well and panelists, and all the resources will be shared as well, of course. So thank you very much. I found it very, very interesting presentations.
Thank you very much, Isolina. Well, a big thank you to all our speakers. Thank you to all the audience who shared with us their time today. Big thank you to the interpreters who did a great job, both translating in English and French. And well, we hope to see you at the next webinar. Okay, thank you very much to everybody. See you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Merci beaucoup.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.